Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires goal for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
Would you enjoy having 3 hot meals a day? Someone did your dishes, laundry, and helped manage your health concerns. For over 125 years, the Veterans Home has been providing quality care for veterans and their spouses. You were there for us. Now let us be there for you. Call us at 701-683-6500 or visit ndvh.nd.gov.
This ad is sponsored by the North Dakota Cares Coalition and aired in cooperation with the North Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
Yeah, welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. It's 106 and a quick guess the temperature outside. Dean, Bridgette, any idea on how warm it is outside here in Fargo?
Well, I'm going to first ask, what is the temperature at the Endon site? And then I'll tell you what it is at the airport.
All right, well, let's pull up old Endon really quick and see what the current temperature is here in Fargo. According to Endon, it says it is 41 degrees.
Then it will be 44 at the airport.
Bridgette, you want to make a guess?
Well, first of all, there must be a lot of asphalt at that airport to keep raising that temperature. But besides that, I am in Carrington, where it is currently 37 degrees out.
Not bad, not bad. Current air temperature, make sure I got the right up to date, 1 and 12, and it is 42. So actually they are just 1 degree off right now, but they were 3 degrees off last hour, Dean. They were 3 degrees off last hour. Well, we got a full rundown on the forecast, and I think this is a forecast that everybody's going to want to get onto, except maybe the folks over at Crystal Sugar and anyone that likes snow, anyone that doesn't like sunshine.
Folks
then you
selling
can turn your radios off now.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably get a steal of a deal on a snowmobile right now.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Oh, you already checked?
Oh, no, snowmobiles don't go on sale.
Yeah, but
nope.
The models that weren't even they couldn't sell this year because of no snow?
No, those are all sold.
All right.
Yeah, good luck finding a new snowmobile.
All right. Well.
Yeah, you don't get sales on snowmobiles, even on crap weather or crap winters.
It's either a snowmobile or fix up.
Get an ATV.
Or fix up the interior of my house.
Ooh, yeah, that needs some work, dude.
Whatever. Well, that's from the cow that was upstairs, and we had to teach him how to go downstairs.
Your stairwell is one, it's a mess. Two, I don't even know how you walk up that thing anymore.
I don't know.
And cows don't come downstairs, so
they do.
Well, we taught this one too.
We've turned it into a slide.
Good idea, because otherwise those are some non-functioning knees. But
here's the trick. Well, you know that the fake linoleum? Well, we smothered a bunch of that on plywood, and we just turned his stairs into a ramp, and we threw his mattress at the bottom of the stairs. Well, bad news is the mattress has a permanent valley in it, but the cow is fine. In fact, the cow liked it and tried to go back up.
In case I've never wondered what happened at the weather office when I wasn't there, this is proof that I don't need to know.
You know,
it's all drawn up.
It's all in here somewhere.
How about we do the weather? How about we recap the weather?
We're looking. You want to do that?
We're looking at a beautiful day out there today. Highs today will reach the low to mid 40s. Plenty of sunshine. Not quite a record. Record is in the upper 40s for today. We'll drop down into the lower 20s tonight under partly cloudy skies and light winds tomorrow as well. Partly cloudy, a few more clouds around tomorrow, but still nice. Lower 40s, and then by Wednesday, we could be in the mid to upper 40s. Some spots in the far southern valley could touch 50.
Oh, my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm! Wait. Everybody calm down!
Yeah, 50 degrees. How about
Close
that?
to it. Close to it.
Nice.
And then 40s Thursday, and then we'll cool it off on Friday, 20s and 30s on Friday, but then we bounce back for the weekend. Still eyeing the potential of 19 inches of snow. Wait, what? Yeah. One of our models printed out 19 inches of snow for our area next week. And then the next model run, and then the next one that came in, same model. 6 hours later, 0.
So they missed a decimal point is what you're saying.
Yeah, but more than likely.
Yeah.
So the forecast for next week with that storm coming in, anywhere between 0 and 19 inches of snow. That's pretty.
Excellent.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
It's pretty big
Not
range.
that time.
That's a huge range.
Like I said, that goes into my favorite meme where it's just a big circle and it says 1 to 72 inches of snow, maybe, probably.
Yeah,
and then there's a big donut hole cut around Fargo.
It says not likely.
No, but remember, the
you are
LRC
traveling.
stands for the LRC stands for likely really close.
Right.
So it could be about like that. And yes, I will be traveling next week. I hear all of this starts on like Wednesday, so I'm leaving Tuesday.
Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine on
Maybe,
Tuesday.
probably, likely, safe.
Oh, but yeah, the LRC does have that on the calendar for next week. And then it looks like March will be a little stormier than this month has been. But, if we get missed by that storm next week, all the other ones look pretty quiet, pretty tame. But we need the moisture, so let's hope we get something out of that next week. Rain or snow, it doesn't matter. Let's get something.
All the moisture would be awesome.
It would. So we got a couple minutes to burn here before we go to break and introduce our guests. You want to hit some of those ag topics, Bridgette?
I would. There's a number of things that are going on. We never really slow down in the world of ag headlines now, do we? So, first of all, if you are still looking to have discussions about a farm transition, there is an in-person seminar this weekend. It'll be at Mankato. University of Minnesota is putting that on. If you can't make it this weekend, St. Cloud will be the weekend after, and after that it will be at Crookston. This is a 2-day event. Not only do they talk about what's going on financially for multiple generations, how to talk with folks, talking through inheritance, farm transfer, but they will also schedule follow-up visits for you. And again, that's through the University of Minnesota. If you have any interest, go ahead and send me an email. I will gladly help you out in getting registered for that. And then, do y'all remember Prop 12 when that was going on, the whole big controversy about it out in California? Bueller?
Explain
Bueller?
No, I don't.
All right, so Prop 12 was a vote in California that would say any pork that was not raised with a specific area around them, minimal space requirements, excuse me. So if it didn't have a minimal space requirement, even if that pork was raised out of the state of California, you couldn't sell that pork in the state of California. There has been further clarification. So Prop 12 applies to whole pork meat products, meaning ground pork not subject to that. So if you have ground pork being sent into the state, you can still do that. Also, processed meats, that also would not be taken into effect under Prop 12. But again, there are some things that you have to make sure you're doing right. You have to have a third-party verification in order to have those whole pork products sent into the state of California, because there is a misconception that it applies to finishing hogs, but actually it's just the gestational sows, not those finishing hogs. So if you're a hog producer, make sure you know the rules if you're going to have your products winding up in the state of California due to Prop 12.
Is there anything normal that comes out of that state anymore? Anything?
We can make fun of California, but just remember, I think this number is still true today. They're 20% of our gross domestic product, and your fruit and veggie markets, what is not supported in, say, Florida, Arizona, a majority of fruit and veggies come out of the San Joaquin Valley and whatnot in California. So if you like it and you want to eat it, you're still going to get it from that state. I don't know if that kiwi grove is going to do you a lot of good in Fargo there, Dean.
Sure it would.
Probably not.
Put a glass dome over it. It'll be fine. We can afford it. We got plenty of money.
Sure we do. And also, while we think about that, how do we have plenty of money? How do we take care of things? Well, the U.S. healthcare system, especially in our rural areas, has had some pretty big struggles going on as of late. And there's some shortages, not just fiscally, but of course, labor shortages within those rural hospitals. Since 2005, 104 rural hospitals have closed, and another 600, that's 30% of rural hospitals, are at the risk of closure in the near future. So Congress has actually started out with the development of something called the Rural Emergency Hospitals, REH. It's a Medicare provider designation that would help to reinforce outpatient medical services and reduce health disparities in rural areas, trying to get them to a full-fledged hospital service again. Here's the part that I have trouble with. It's a Medicare provider designation. one of the reasons so many rural hospitals struggle financially is due to how broken the Medicare reimbursement payment system is and how long it's delayed and what they have to do in order to get their reimbursements for their fiscal bottom lines as those hospitals. There are other things that are being done by the Department of Health and Human Services, though. They are trying to provide additional funding for a number of measures, grants to provide stronger healthcare services, and then even investing in a nursing workforce that will serve rural areas. So it's not an easy place to be. I can tell you that based on my home county's experience, there are 2 hospitals in that county. If we lose them, the next closest hospital is about 40 miles, and after that it would be 90 or 100 miles. So you look at what's going on, and that's just in North Dakota. Montana's in worse shape than we are, Wyoming, etc.
Right.
So just trying to keep people safe is very difficult.
And this is all funded by the government?
This new initiative would be to call them an REH. Yes, that would be a Medicare designation.
We're here to help.
We can only hope for the best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, I know we make fun of it. We're still, in some ways, those programs are good. The downside is it just still involves the politicians that are part of it.
Which usually will take a lot longer to get things done.
Generally speaking, they do.
Man.
Now, hopefully that is not the case with everything. In fact, our guest today is Brian Fuder. He is with the Red River Retention Authority. And we want to talk about some of the things that folks don't necessarily think about this time of year. We are dry. There's not a lot of snow around me right now. And why would we worry about flooding? Well, I think it's probably just the right time to name these projects and get the work done before we have to try to do it in the midst of mud and so forth, wouldn't you? Seems like a better plan. So Brian's going to join us. We want to visit about that. And then through some messages he and I were sharing over on Friday, I found out that he is also a square foot farmer. So we'll have to talk about that after we talk through flood projects, etc. But he can probably fill us in quite a bit on what it's like to be a square foot farmer and what that entails. So we will do that with Brian Fuder when we return.
Soybeans and soybean meal finished higher on Friday. You're listening to the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen with this market update. Markets closed on Monday for the President's Day holiday, so a 3-day holiday weekend no doubt will lend itself to some added volatility once traders come back into the markets on Tuesday. Soybeans and meal found some decent strength to end a rather rough week in the commodity trade as a whole, with beans up 8 to 10, with bean meal $5 to $6 a ton higher on the day Friday. Corn mixed around unchanged, churning around recent contract lows. Wheat trade down moderately on Friday, hitting some new contract lows in the July wheat contracts. Those cheap Russian values, cheap Black Sea values continuing to weigh on the world wheat markets as a whole. Now, overall, funds and managed money continue to be near record short or record short here in the commodity sector, and that bearish grip on these markets doesn't seem to want to loosen up anytime soon. The path of least resistance is to the downside, and it's going to take something fairly significant, it seems, to trigger a short covering rally at this juncture. And if that does happen, that should be a decent opportunity to try and make some sales. We'll take a look at the weekly closes next on the American Ag Network.
Conservation is work worth doing here in North Dakota. The newly created Dakota Legacy Initiative makes this work easier for producers and landowners by collaborating with conservation agencies and bringing all available resources to one online location with the goal of preserving North Dakota's legacy of agriculture, conservation, and legendary land and water. Join us where collaborative conservation begins. Visit DakotaLegacyInitiative.com to learn more.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Last week, March corn down 12.5 cents at 4.16.5. March beans down 11.25 cents at 11.72 March Chicago wheat for the week down 36.25 cents to close at 5.60.5. March Kansas City wheat down 34.25 cents to settle at 5.67.25. March Minneapolis wheat finished down 29.25 cents to close at 6.55 for the week last week. Meantime, all three livestock markets were able to round out the day Friday higher as the market was flooded with ample fundamental support led by triple-digit strength in feeder cattle and live cattle futures. Markets closed on Monday. This is the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I don't know what that noise was, but I did learn over the weekend that the loudest animal on the planet is a whale. And that wasn't a whale.
I don't have a whale sounder yet. Maybe tomorrow. I can give you an armadillo. Sure you want an armadillo?
Why wouldn't we?
There you go. That's an armadillo.
That also sounds like the world's worst doorbell. Now,
yes, it does.
I'm going to make that my Tesla horn.
I can't wait. So
get out of the way, kid.
Well, something's got to make noise if your Tesla doesn't.
All right.
Oh. Well, I hope the entertainment has been great for our guest who's joining us today, and that is Brian Fuder. And Brian is with the Red River Retention Authority. Brian, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Bridgette. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming back.
Appreciate it seeing you guys again.
Absolutely. So for those who maybe missed your first go-around with us, Brian, tell us more about the authority and what you do.
Well, the Red River Retention Authority is a joint power agreement between the Minnesota Water Resource Management Districts and the North Dakota Watershed Districts. And so we kind of work as a liaison between them two to help kind of focus efforts into what's best for the Red River Basin and, through the promotion of water retention up and down the basin. And so every year, as part of our mission of reducing mainstream flood levels, maximum peak flows by 20%, we put together a priority project list every year that targets the projects that we are helping to sponsor and to push forward to help us in that mission of reducing that peak flood flow. And this year, 2024 is no different. We've got about 21 projects that are on our list. We don't prioritize them by anything, but we do identify those projects. And out of those 21 projects, we do have quite a few of them that are very local. Some of them, and again, we extend all the way from White Rock Dam all the way up to the Canadian border. So we do have a lot of projects that are out there. And we just want to let people know that this is what we do. These are some of the things that we can be looking forward to. Some of the folks in the area may be familiar with these projects. For those of you that are not, maybe this will be something that you, as long as the weather is nice and the roads are pretty decent, you can get out and take a look at some of these things.
So as you start to look at what you're doing for the coming year, and I think that this list is really about what should be done over a year's time. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong and it takes longer. How does this even get compiled? Where do you start? Because I have your handout from a meeting that I attended with you, and I have 4 pages of items. How do you know where to start? How do you get that ball rolling?
Well, we work with the individual watershed districts and the water management organizations throughout the Red River Basin. Each of those areas has a board of directors, administrators, secretary treasurers, and they work very much independently to identify the needs that are being looked at for doing some flood mitigation in their areas. And then we also help to team up with different governmental agencies like the NRCS, Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, North Dakota Department of Water Quality, Water Resources, things like that. And then we look at those projects and to see which of those that are out there that are going to have the best benefit or bang for their buck, if you want to put it that way, and see how close those are to being shovel ready. And some of the projects that we have on our list are multi-year projects. The very first one, the Red Path project, which is down between Wheaton and Norcross, Minnesota, has been under construction now for a couple of years. Very, very impressive project down there. And, you know, when we look at these things, these projects vary some pretty hefty price tags on some of these. And, you know, with the Red Path project, you know, we're looking at about a $62.2 million project for total cost of that. And, you know, the second phase, or phase 2B, will be bid and initiated here now this spring. And phase 3 will also start in 2024. And still waiting to determine whether when phase 4 will be completed. But we had a groundbreaking on that project last fall, and it's kind of tough to see. But if you look at the picture on the front of that handout that I gave you, that's the background. That's actually a picture of that project itself. So, yeah, we work, going back to your original question, Bridgette, we do work with the individual agencies, the watersheds and the watershed districts to identify those projects, which ones are going to be the most feasible to do, and which ones can we get the permitting processes in place and get the project started.
What's that? I guess, how do you go from an idea to it becoming a project on that list? What does that timetable and hoops you got to go through look like?
You know, that's there's a saying that I hear quite often, that nothing in the water world goes fast. Some of these projects have been on the books for a number of years. Mm-hmm. The process of getting out, identifying a potential project, and then they also identify alternatives to that original project, and then try to determine which one is going to be the best project to fit those needs and give those projects that benefit for the folks that are around there. Like I said, some of these projects have been on the book for a number of years, and some of them, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to say that there's maybe some of these will be on the list for the next few years, just because it takes that much time to do all the studies, get all the permits in place, get the landowners to be in favor of doing these things, and it is a process. And the folks in the watershed areas, they do a lot of work, and they need to be commended for the work that they do, because it's not always. The old saying is, whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting for. And, you know, there's a lot of that happens, but they do a great job, and they really work well with the landowners and the agencies that they need to get these projects in place.
And Brian, for those that don't know, is this taxpayer funded, or how do these projects?
Yes.
Okay.
Each of the watershed districts, depending on, you know, we work in two different states, North Dakota and Minnesota. There's federal funding that's available. There's also local funding. There is some of there is some tax money that comes in off of property taxes and things like that, drainage assessments and those types of things. So it is very, you know, I wouldn't say there's a lot of, there can be private investments in this also, but mostly we do look at working with governmental monies and those types of things to get these projects going.
You know, as you look at these projects, how invasive can some of these be, Brian? You know, and I've read through your list and watched some of these. They can be multi-year. And would you say that they're more than just doing a little bit of repair work on the side of a dam? Some of these can get pretty involved, wouldn't you say?
Oh yes, you know, some of them. Like the Red Path project and the Mustinka River realignment, you know, back in I believe it was in the 50s, the Corps of Engineers had the idea that, you know, to decrease flooding, we'd straighten out these rivers, take the meanders out of it, make it a straight shot, make it more like a drainage ditch, get the water out of there faster. Sure. And now they're going back and they're saying, no, we need to re-meander these creeks now, and these water drainage structures, and so they're doing that. one of the projects, the Red Path is a great project of that. There's another one just north of Breckenridge that the Buffalo Red Watershed District has been working on in the Wysocki Creek, and you can see that off of Highway 75, and you can see just what they've done to go in there and reshape and reslope that area, put those meanders back in, and it helps to not only slow down the water that's getting into the main stem of the Red River, but it also does something for sediment control, water quality issues, and things like that. So and then there's also the projects when we get up in the northern part of North Dakota, up along in the Tongue River, Pembina area up there. We've got a lot of dam structures that are up there. Some of those structures are 50 to 70 years old, and now we're having to go in and rehabilitate those because they've outlived their life expectancy. And so these projects can be something to looks like it's all we're doing is cleaning ditches out to doing dam rehabilitation. So it is. There's quite a
lot of dam work.
Yeah, it is. It
sure
is. I'm glad I don't have to swing the damn shovel or anything like that.
There you go.
So.
Well put. And you were talking about what river was that? The Wysocki Creek, was it?
Wysocki Creek.
And
yes.
are we fighting that one or drinking that one?
Well, that one,
Right.
that one, it depends on what time of the year it is. So.
And I want to go back to that. You said you were some of those rivers you initially kind of thought about turning them into a straightaway, like a ditch, a runoff ditch. Then it was thought to make them more put I can't even think of the word you just said.
Make them straight.
Put the bends back into the rivers. Was that just for controlling how much, some of the sediment things you had mentioned, but was the big thing how much water was getting dumped into the Red? Was it just putting too much water in there too fast, and that was raising the flood threat? Or what was that big epiphany moment? They're like, hey, we need to stop this.
I wish I was that deep of an engineer to understand what was going on, but their thought process was the sooner we get rid of the water, we get it downstream,
right.
It's not our problem. And so
yeah, we'll give it to Winnipeg.
Yeah, and that wasn't ever the impetus behind any of these things, but it was just what we do today. 50, 70 years from now, they may look back and say, "Boy, that was foolish." We've new science is out there
no
now.
wonder Winnipeg doesn't like us.
Yeah, but they do.
They do.
They do.
They do. We
They're
put the
nice
bends
folks
back
up
in
there.
there.
Yeah, we started to slow the water down a little bit, but and that whole thing, when you've got water running fast and straight, erosion gets to be a little bit more of a problem. The faster the water flows to those main stems, the more sediment it carries, the more crop residue, the nutrient residues, from the chemicals and stuff that are being used. All of that comes into play. And so it's not just so much a matter of just controlling water. Water is going to do what it wants to do, and we really don't have a lot of say in the matter. But we want to try to control that water, time that water, and then also what can we do to clean that water up a little bit? It's I don't believe that the Red River in this part of the country ever flowed crystal clear, but it's a lot clearer now than it was when I was a kid.
Right.
So we are seeing some benefits from that.
Cool. Well, we're speaking with Brian Fuder, Red River Retention Authority. If you want to call in, ask some questions, feel free to do so. The Red Wing Shoes phone line is open. I got 4 free lines right now. 701-293-9000 is that Red Wing Shoes phone line, as well as our email studio inboxes at weather or egg at flagfamily.com, and comment boxes available there on Facebook and YouTube Live. We got to get caught up with local news, but when we come back, we'll rejoin this conversation with Brian Fuder again, Red River Retention Authority. And, Brian, I know there's a lot of things going on just north of town, so maybe we could touch on what's going on up there with the diversion just north of Harwood and what that might look like coming into the year ahead. So we'll get that question answered and so many more when we return.
Hey, it's Steve Kearney from Steve Kearney Outdoors. Catch me on Friday mornings on Bonnie and Friends, and we'll talk hunting and fishing, and I'll pass along tips to help you have better success on the water and in the field, and let you know what's trending right now.
Steve Kearney Outdoors is brought to you by Auto Fix in Henning and Ottertail, an independent family-run shop that knows how important it is to get you in and taken care of quickly. Find out more at AutoFixRepairs.com.
Are your trees in need of some TLC? Look no further than Tyler's Tree Service. Whether you're planning for next year or need help now, visit tylerscut.com to request a quote. They'll swing by, assess the job, and send you a competitive bid. That's tylerscut.com.
Tharaldson Ethanol invites you to trade in your job for a career. Just west of Castleton sits one of the nation's largest ethanol facilities, a 170 million gallon per year ethanol plant. Come join a work family of dedicated team members helping North Dakota lead the energy revolution. Pay starting at $75,000 to $80,000 per year, plus benefits, bonuses, incentives, and more. If your job is just a job, trade it in for a career at Tharaldson Ethanol. Apply online right now at tharaldsonethanol.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom Tucker, WDAY News First. A student basketball player at Fargo Shanley High was punched during a basketball game Friday. The punch was caught on video, which shows a player from Red River High School in Grand Forks striking the player. It wasn't noticed during the game, but caused controversy after the video was posted on the internet. There's no word on whether police are investigating. Fargo Public Schools officials are informing homeless families about programs aimed at keeping their students on a path toward graduation.
He just said, I am so sick of people arguing or getting all upset about not having, a $500 purse. And I said, and what else? And he goes, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to fill out for SNAP benefits so that I can eat.
Homeless liaison Jan Anderson says homelessness can impact whether students succeed in the classroom. Many of the students lack consistent transportation, meals, and locations to sleep or study. Anderson says the number of homeless students in the district last year was 230. This year, it's 275. And Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips says he's not ending his presidential campaign despite laying off several of his campaign staffers. Phillips says struggles with fundraising forced him to cut positions. He calls the decision tough, but says it wasn't the end of his campaign for the Democratic nomination. Tom Tucker, WDAY, and WDAYRadioNow.com.
Are your trees in need of some TLC? Look no further than Tyler's Tree Service. Whether you're planning for next year or need help now, visit tylerscut.com to request a quote. They'll swing by, assess the job, and send you a competitive bid. That's tylerscut.com.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. It is just about 1:37 on this Monday afternoon, and a quick check on your currents around the Fargo area. We got temperatures anywhere from 39 degrees to 43 degrees. 44 actually now, just south of us in Fargo. It is a lovely afternoon out there. We'll get a full rundown on the forecast coming up in our next segment, but we're rejoining our conversation here with Brian Fuder of the Red River Retention Authority. And again, if you want to ask any questions for Brian and for us, give us a call on the Red Wing Shoes phone line. That's 701-293-9000. Now, Brian, a lot of people drive up and down I-29 north of Fargo around Harwood. And there's been quite a bit of activity going on there this fall and even a little bit throughout this winter, but things have gone a little quiet right now. I haven't seen much going on. What's going on with the diversion up there north of town?
Boy, I wish I could speak to the diversion. I have really no expertise in the diversion. Really, the Red River Retention Authority and the FM Diversion Authority are separate entities, and but basically, I have a real keen interest in what's going on, just with my engineering background and things like that. I love to see what they're doing. This is something that's monumental as far as what's going on. But trying to get those bridges put in, and the railroad bridge has to be installed. The aqueducts are going in. Just that whole process of seeing what's going on, and then. Just going out west of town on 94, you can see where the diversion channel is being dug out there. It's going to be a permanent change in our landscape around here, that's for sure. It's an impressive project. Holy smokes! If you need to get somebody on that can speak authoritatively about the diversion project. I'm taking wild stabs, so I'm not an expert in that, but I have an interest in it. Definitely.
Well, yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys were connected at all, or if you did cross communication or whatnot with that. But you guys are separate entities.
Yes,
then.
we are. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. So you probably don't have any projects that big, do you?
No, we'd sure like to find a couple of big projects like that. But, yeah. I think one $3 billion project in this area is probably going to take a while before we ever see something like that come back around. But I definitely, it's interesting to watch it progress.
Yeah, it definitely is. It'll be interesting to see what they end up getting done and get moving into the spring, what they're going to get done. I mean, they got a lot done last year.
I was at had a tour there last fall. A bunch of us went out and were able to get in on that. And they were saying they were moving something like 1.8 million cubic yards of material a month, or something like that. It was just astronomically.
Right. So do you, with the Red River Retention Authority, do you have any projects that tie in with the diversion?
Not necessarily that tie into the diversion. Most of our projects are standalone projects.
Okay.
We really focus on retention and holding water back temporarily to release it at a certain time. Most of our structures are off stream, and so it doesn't directly, the water got to get so high, and then it'll flow into our retention structure, and then when the water drops, it'll eventually go back out. But we don't have anything that's directly on channel anymore, really, that we do anything new.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with some of these projects, I happen to be close to a couple of them, like Rush River, Upper Maple, etc. And so do you have, once a project is complete, do you make sure that adjacent landowners, agencies, folks who are in that neighborhood have a way of knowing, hey, we finally got it done? Or is it just a matter of, well, the equipment left, so it must be over? Any sort of kickoffs to having those projects finished?
Well, it does depend. The different agencies will have a groundbreaking ceremony, and a lot of times once that's done, then it's a great opportunity to say, hey, look at what we've accomplished. It's completed there. The number 2 item on our list of priorities for 2024 was the city of New Folden. And that a major portion of that project has been completed, and they had some nice kickoffs with that, kind of a celebration to say, hey, look at what we've accomplished, and they worked quite hard with that. So no, we don't want to hide these things and keep them out of the public's eye. We want the public to know that this is what's being done to help mitigate flood problems and save those types of issues from being a problem again in the future.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say, what's one of the bigger projects that you'd like to see get done here over the next few years?
Oh, one of the really, there's a couple of them up in the Roseau area, the Roseau Lake Rehabilitation Project. I think it was back in the 1900s. They actually drained the Roseau Lake so that they could farm it. Well, it's never really been productive farmland because the water seems to come back, and so they're trying to a really large project up there. About 4,000 acres are going to be converted back into wetlands and those types of areas, and that 4,000 acres is actually going to provide us for about 20,000 acre feet of storage. Not only that, the storage of water, it's going to be improved habitat for the wildlife, and then water management capabilities as far as cleaning things up. So that Roseau Lake is a huge project that on the Minnesota side. On the North Dakota side, we're seeing a lot of things being done up in the Pembina County with the Tongue River. Those types of projects up there, some dam rehabilitations that are going to have to be done. Also in the Grand Forks area, there's some dam work that's going to have to be done there too, and just trying to get those things back into existence, because like I say, a lot of those projects were built in the 1950s. There was about a 50-year life expectancy on them. We're at 70 years. And so there's some work that needs to be done on some of those dams.
And Bridgette had mentioned earlier that you're into the square foot farming. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Square foot gardening. Yeah. Well, let's go from talking about floods to square foot gardening. But I've been involved with square foot gardening for a number of years. I used to build gardens for people with mobility issues, people that were in wheelchairs, blind people, things like that, elevated gardens. And so kind of got a kick out of that. One of the first ones I built, the person said, I don't have trouble getting down to garden, it's getting up.
Right.
And so was able to raise these gardens up to a higher level, kind of a tabletop type of a situation. And I had worked with the Square Foot Gardening Foundation out of New York, and I delivered gardens to 48 states in one of the territories over the years. So I never did get one up to never got one up to Alaska or Hawaii, but I did get one out to the Virgin Islands.
Cool.
And,
Interesting.
How big were these? If you're getting them delivered.
Well, there were three. The main one that I built was 3 foot by 3 foot and stands about 3 foot tall. And it holds about 8 inches of soil, or Mel's mix is what we used to call it. It was a combination of vermiculite, peat moss, and compost, and very lightweight. So if you had to, you could pick the garden up and move it to mow around it or whatever. And then I also built a 3 foot by 6 foot. And Mel Bartholomew invented the square foot gardening method many, many years ago. When I was a kid, living in Breckenridge, we had 3 channels on the TV. Channel 13 was one of them, and used to watch Mel Bartholomew play in his square foot gardens. I thought he had the coolest job in the world. He just plant a little, pick a little, eat a little, plant a little more, and it was just it was an opportunity, and I really got involved with it as an opportunity to let everybody garden. It's such a great opportunity, and especially we were really getting into the. A lot of folks were interested in the the organic, the non-GMO. There was a big kick there to no pesticides, no herbicides. Having a little bit more control over what they were growing and what they were eating, and that really was taking off. And then that darn COVID thing hit, and then we really took off. People said, "Well, I got to have something to do. We can't go anywhere, so I might as well stay home and garden." And so it took off on a big boost there too. And then we wound up into supply chain issues and getting things delivered, and it became unfeasible to continue to build gardens and try to sell them. It was I couldn't put $75 worth of material in a box and ship it for $200 and charge somebody $400 for but it was always fun, and I've been involved with that gardening. I was kind of funny because I was listening to you guys. I think it was last Friday. You were talking gardening, and you were talking about putting boards over your carrots, and that's something that my grandpa always told me. He said you put the boards over the carrots, that way it keeps the carrots wet because they dry out right away, and they got no ability to hold seed moisture. So if you put the board over that, and for a couple of days until they're about 7 to 10 days before carrots sprout, and then they get a good chance at making a survival. So can't say it always works, but it's got to do something.
Well, it's something I had never even considered doing. So I can imagine there's a lot of people that never thought about doing it either.
Yeah.
But if it works, it works.
Lots of little tips and tricks that you learn over the years, and I always go back to some of those things that my grandpa taught me when I was growing up. And one of the other things that people have always said, well, you got to. He always said, you planted your potatoes on Good Friday. And he'd be out there with a hammer and a chisel, chopping through the ice, and at least get one hill of potatoes in for Good Friday. But we know too that the potatoes aren't going to sprout until the ground temperature is warm enough to let them sprout. But you got to get them in on Good Friday no matter what. So I do try to put one in every year too, just like he did. If I go hammer and a chisel and put one in the ground anyway.
You won't need to this year.
No.
That's a good thing.
No. Lose my chisel.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's been great fun. Not only do we get to talk about what's going on with the Red River Retention Authority, because we know that people have continued questions for that, but then also a little touch on gardening as usual. And if folks want to reach out to you, or if you have things that you want to continue to share, where could they find them, Brian? How would that work?
Yeah, you can find us. Website is Red River, or RRRA at idea1.net is our website. My email is rrra at idea1.net, and phone number is 701-356-6644, and we're located right here North Fargo, across from the Yonkers Farm.
I know right where that's at. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Brian. Folks, don't go anywhere. Our last run at that 19 inches of snow next week. And other ag headlines. It's National FFA Week. We'll talk about that coming up next.
Hello, Fargo. This is John Adams, your host of Talk of the Town. My show is designed to highlight everything great about the city, the valley, and the country in which we live. I've had the great fortune of meeting, working, and living with wonderful people in the Fargo-Moorhead area, and I want to bring their stories to you. Human interest stories, sports, timely topics that affect all of us in the Red River Valley. Talk of the Town with John Adams. Tune in for positivity and fun.
Are you having transmission problems and struggling to find a place to work on it? I've got some exciting news for you. I'm Matthew from Fix It Forward Auto Care, and we're excited to announce that we're now offering full-service transmission repair for automotive and light truck applications, including repair, rebuilding, and replacement. If your transmission is making unusual noises, slips, or is leaking, stop by any of our 4 convenient FM locations so our skilled technicians can check it out. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care. I began my battle with addiction at a young age, leading me into a life of destruction and homelessness. Discovering I was pregnant left me angry, considering termination, but I knew having this baby would change me deeply. My name is Autumn, and the Perry Center transformed my life. With their support and the help of our donors, me and my baby's basic needs are met, and we have a solid support system.
This is Autumn's story, a journey from despair to hope. To partner with us, visit perrycenter.org. That's perrycenter.org.
Looking for a rewarding career in healthcare with excellent benefits? Help enrich the lives of the men and women who served our country by joining the North Dakota Veterans Home family. Whether you're a registered nurse, certified nurse's assistant, medication technician, or have a background in administration or maintenance, visit ndvh.nd.gov to learn more about career opportunities today.
Sponsored by the North Dakota Cares Coalition in cooperation with the North Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Thinking of a Valentine's Day proposal? Make this Valentine's Day truly extraordinary with the offer we have for you. This is Aaron with Wimmer's Diamonds, and now through February 29th, when you purchase an engagement ring and center stone valued at $2,000 or more, receive a pair of beautiful 1-carat lab-grown diamond earrings valued over $1,000 absolutely free. Hurry in and let our diamond experts help you choose the ring that will light up her world. Wimmer's Diamonds, where an engagement ring and free diamond earrings come together for the best Valentine's ever.
AB Seed invites you to attend their second Biological Blitz on Thursday, February 22nd. Join AB Seed at the AB Seed warehouse office in Avril at noon for light lunch, and then a showcase of their all-star lineup featuring NutriQuire and Invita. Deep dive into the YMS playbook and Legend Seeds playbook, unveiling the latest yields, trends, and successes. Don't miss out on the exclusive in-game discount. RSVP at AB Seed now at 218-238-6154. That's 218-238-6154.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:53 in the afternoon on this Monday,
It's Monday?
It's Monday. It feels like April out there, but it's
April?
End of February.
Oh, it's February.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it, though. Temperature low 40s across much of the area, a little cooler 30s in the Northern Valley. But, boy, what a gorgeous day out there today. On our way up into the low to mid 40s, and we'll stay in the 40s most of the week until we get to Friday. We'll cool things down Friday. Quick punch of cold air, but then I wouldn't be surprised over the next week, and the key dates would be Wednesday and then possibly over the weekend that we flirt with 50.
Ooh.
Man. Records this time of the year are upper 40s to lower 50s. So a couple of those days we could be flirting with some record warm temperatures. And, I mean, we've set so many records so far this winter. It'll be interesting to see figure meteorological winter ends here in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And it'll be interesting to see where this goes down in terms of temperature. You think it's going to be the warmest winter? It'll be in the top 5. I think it'll end up
in the top 5.
December, January, and February.
I think Fargo might go down, and this is me not having any idea of what the records are for that specific thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if we went down as number 1. Like I said, I don't know what those numerical values are, but
we got to be towards the top. But I think about stories that folks have talked about the 1930s during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl years, where there was no snow and it was warm. So I would not be surprised if we get beat out by that, but I think we are very close to it.
Yeah, it's just been it's been one of those years.
Well, I was telling the Janae and Ronnie on the old coffee club on the morning, you know how we have those years where we just skip spring and go straight into summer, like we don't get that transition of the winter.
We'll be here.
We skipped winter and went straight into spring.
Sure seems like
fall to spring.
Yeah.
You did. But something that you should not skip, folks, on February 21st up in Grand Forks during the International Crop Expo, Cargill is hosting meetings on camelina. Winter camelina can indeed be grown as a cash crop and as a cover crop. People are interested in it because there's the possible crush to use for renewable oils like jet fuel, etc. So if you want to attend this meeting, again, it'll be on Wednesday, February 21st in Grand Forks. To register for a spot, go to cargillag.com/events, or make sure you just send me an email, ag@flagfamily.com. I'll help you get signed up. They'd love to see you join them on Wednesday. So, little invite there for you.
And don't forget, for our presidential trivia, we'll be drawing that name today at 4 o'clock on Steve Hallstrom's show on our sister station.
Isn't Jay doing it?
On the flag. I believe Hallstrom. Is Jay doing it? Bridgette,
are we out of questions?
We're asking questions. I thought it was Jay was doing it during the 4 o'clock hour.
You might be right.
Maybe they're doing one for flag and one for WDAY. I don't know. Listen to both at the same time.
Yeah, listen.
You got 2 years.
4 o'clock. 4 o'clock this afternoon. Hopefully you can be one of the lucky winners.
Well, I would hope so. I mean,
I
people went through all the work of getting registered.
Right? And do we have we don't have time. I was going to throw one more.
I mean, we could try.
One more presidential trivia question
why
out there.
not?
Jacob, do we have time?
Yep.
We got 2
Better
minutes.
Do a good one.
He told me no.
No, he said we do not have time, so we won't be able to qualify on this show. But listen to Jay Thomas.
Said he was going to throw a rock at you. He's like, you do it, I'll throw a rock.
Then we better not.
No.
Yeah.
Now we really don't have time.
All right. Bridgette, do we have time for one more ag topic here real quick?
Several things are going on this week. First of all, it is National FFA Week, and so I'm not wearing my jacket yet, but it's in the back seat of my pickup. I'll be wearing it tonight when I am presenting in Mercer, North Dakota. I will be there on behalf of the North Dakota State University Extension Service and Brevera Bank, and we're going to be talking about the No Drama Mamas, how to have conflict resolution both at home and as well in the workplace. Then tomorrow, I will be with Scott Hennon. We will be at the Carbon Solutions Summit, and this is put on by North Dakota Farmers Union. It will be in Jamestown, and they are talking about all things carbon sequestration, carbon credits, carbon intensity scores, and there'll be lots of speakers there, especially folks from NDSU, talking about how to choose what to do and what makes good sense and how that can apply to your farm. Wednesday is the International Crop Expo. It's actually Wednesday and Thursday, I believe, Tuesday and Wednesday. I'll only get up there on Wednesday this week. to attend some of their meetings and sessions. They've got a trade show on the floor at the Alaris, and there are breakout sessions in regards to a number of crops. There's always things that happen as far as potatoes in particular. And then Thursday, I'm off to the bull sale. That's that time of the year again where I get a chance to go out and do that. So it's going to be a busy week. All you FFA alumni out there, get out those jackets, show them off. It's a great time to do it.
Right on. Thanks, Bridget. And that's going to wrap it up for Weather and Ag in Focus today. We're back tomorrow, 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Guess who's back? Jake Thomas
is
back.
Vacation.
Yeah.
All right.
Imagine that. So he's coming up next, Jay Thomas.
Don't go anywhere.
See you tomorrow.
Bonjour. Let Reed Event Center at Reese and Riley's Olive Oil in